everyone. I see there are people that just joined. I think everyone can see my screen. So welcome. Hopefully we'll have a few more attendees that will join us and we will just catch them up as we get into the webinar. We will go ahead and get started because we have a number of tips and resources to provide to you all, and we want to make sure that we get through everything. So you are here today because we're going to be providing you an overview of the Association Latinos Awards Program, which is led by the Awards and Recognition Committee of Association Latinos. So joining me today is a few of our committee members. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few minutes to introduce them. And I probably should introduce myself. I'm Diana Dabdoob, the Director for Admissions and Recruitment Affairs at the American Association of Veterinary Medical Colleges, as well as the Chair of the Association Latinos Awards and Recognition Committee. So we also have joining us this afternoon is Mark Vasquez, who is Senior Program Manager for IEEE Tech Ethics, Juana Espinosa Vasquez, who is the Governance Manager at the Society for Academic Emergency Medicine, and Sarah Estrella, who is our Region Manager at MDRT. We also have a few other committee members that are going to be helping us kind of monitor the chat and make sure that you have some resources available to you. We have Erica Ochoa, who is our Vice Chair of the Association Latinos Committee, as well as the Manager of Education and Career Development Programs at the American Association of Immunologists. We also have Justin Bradley Reyes, who is the Manager of Member Engagement at the Latino Corporate Directors Association, and Anessa Kirby, who's Director of Member and Component Engagement at the American Physical Therapy Association. So without any further delay, let's go ahead and dive right in. So we're going to provide an overview for you around the awards program. We'll talk about some of the awards categories, just giving you a little bit of background about those 3 different awards that we do have, provide you an application overview as well as tips for your application, and then really allow you that time to go over some some tips for you as you're preparing to either nominate yourself or nominate somebody else, and tips for that application process itself. So we will go ahead and turn things over to my colleague Juana, who's going to talk and provide you an overview of the awards themselves. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still on this slide. My apologies. So before we get started on that piece, I did want to just kind of share the overall goal, right? Association Latinos really is committed to elevating Latinos that are within associations and nonprofits. And one of the ways that we're doing this is through this awards program. So this awards program is really designed to recognize and celebrate not only individuals, but organizations that have made contributions and significant contributions to not only their associations, but to the broader association profession. And the way that we do that is through these 3 awards that we have. So we have 2 individual honors, which are our Inspira Award, as well as our Estrella Award, and then our newly launched organizational recognition, which is our Alianza Award. So please feel free to take down this website link, associationlatinos.org/awards for more information about that. And then a few other things just to make sure that you're aware. Members of the Association Latinos Awards and Recognition Committee, as well as the board, are any past judges or past recipients are not eligible to be nominated, as well as any members of the board, the recognition committee, and awards judges are not able to nominate or endorse any others. We do accept self-nominations for these awards, so that is something that you should consider. And then there are some more specific eligibility requirements for each of the awards that we'll go over. So globally, the ones that I just shared right now are applicable to all 3 of the awards that we have. Now I will turn it over to my colleague Juana to talk about our awards in a little bit more detail. Juana, please take it away.
Hi, everyone. So the next 3 slides will dive deep into each of the awards and a little bit of the criteria for each. To start off, we have our Inspira Award. It provides recognition to an early career association professional who, in the context of Association Latinos' mission, has demonstrated high potential for continued success thanks to their strong passion for and commitment to their association and the association professional overall. So for this award, you do need to have between 3 to 5 years of sustained and continuous positive contributions to your association. Your experience must be current with an association or a nonprofit organization or an association management company. And then those 3 to 5 years of experience do not need to be with the same association, organization, or nonprofit company. Just highlighting those 3 to 5 years a little bit more. On our next slide, we do have our next award, our Asteria Award. It's presented to an association executive who has profound impact on the development and progression of their association and the association profession overall in the context of the association Latinos mission. This person would have positive leadership experience of more than 5 years. Their leadership experience must be current with an association, nonprofit organization, or an association management company. Those 5 years of leadership do not need to be the same, like the Inspira Award, do not need to be the same association, nonprofit organization, or the association management company. And our last award is actually our new award. It's our Allianza Award. Our Allianza Award is presented to an organization. So it could be an association, association management company, and nonprofit vendor that has contributed towards a more inclusive Latino leadership, representation, and culture in the workplace, community, and/or organization. So this award will be for an organization that has sustained and continuous impact in the Latino community. Must be an association, association management company, or a nonprofit and/or vendor. Those vendors, as you can see, is hyphenated, and they must work and support associations and nonprofits. Nominees for this award can be in the business for any number of years, can have any number of employees, and anyone can be the nominator for this award. However, we do ask that the executive director, CEO of the nominee must provide proof of support for this nomination. So this is our new award. It has a little bit different criteria than the last two, but we're really excited to offer this new award to those organizations. And then I'm going to kick it over to my colleague, Sarah, to go over a couple more items about our awards program.
Thank you, Juana. Well, I will be speaking about the awards process overview. The first step will be the nomination period. This is nominators will be able to submit a form to nominate themselves, a peer, or an organization. Also, the second step will be communication to the nominees. We will share communication with the nominees that will be notified on their nomination and asked to complete an application. The good thing about it is the application only takes 2 minutes. Step 3, the application period. Nominees will fill out the application and include supporting documents for the relevant awards. Next slide, please. And then here's the timeline of the process for the nomination. Nomination period is open and is open until June 30th. And then we have the application period, which opens July 1st until July 31st. Then there will be a review process, which will be August 1st until August 31st. And then in September, the nominees will be notified of the selections. Next slide, please. Here we have the nomination form. Again, it's the nominator name we will have, and also the contact information. We will require to have the nominee name, the nominee organization, also the email address of the nominee, and the recommended award. Also, we do invite you to see your network and your peers who are eligible for these awards, and please go ahead and nominate them, and looking forward. And then I'll forward it over to my colleague, Mark.
Gracias, Sara. I should point out that contrary to popular belief, the Estrella Award was not named after Sara, although there is a common name there. So as Sara mentioned, once the nomination period is over, the application period begins, and that will open up in July 1st. Those who have been nominated will receive a notification to complete the application process, and that application process is only open to those who have been nominated during the nomination period. So the nomination period is very important because that will be the point at which people are identified to complete the application. There will be no additional names added during the application process that haven't been already submitted during the nomination process. The nominees will receive information on how to access the application for their relevant award. And that also means that if you self-nominated, you will receive an email saying, hey, you nominated yourself. Here's where you go to complete the application for your award. The application is a little bit more detailed than what you saw in the nomination form. The nomination form was pretty straightforward. The application includes information on who you are, just to let us know, again, who you are as a nominee. It asks for a copy of your resume or your CV. And then it has fields to fill in information addressing each of the criteria for your specific award. So each application for each award is slightly different because it reflects the criteria for that specific award. What you're seeing on the screen right now is just an excerpt of the application. It's the portion where we ask you to provide information about yourself in support of each of the criteria for the award. You'll notice at the very bottom, it says 0 out of 250. We do want to limit how much information is provided. We don't want people writing for pages and pages, and we also want to be fair to all applicants. So these fields do have limits, word limits in them to help make sure that you're focused in your responses and so that we are treating everyone equally who applies. In addition to that, the nominees will also be responsible for collecting and submitting 2 endorsement letters. These are 2 additional people who will serve as endorsers for your application. And anyone can serve as an endorser, including the people who nominated you. Obviously, except in the case of self-nominations, you wouldn't also submit an endorsement for yourself. You're filling out the application. So those 2 endorsement letters are letters you would have to collect from your endorsers and submit along with your application. Next slide, please. The endorser form is something that we created new this year. This is information that will be provided to the nominees, and the nominees are asked to send this information to the people who they wish to endorse them. The endorser forms include an indication of who the nominee is, so we know who the endorsement is for, some information about the endorser themselves, just so we know who is submitting the endorsement, and then one simple field at the very bottom. It's the one box at the very bottom of this field, and what you're seeing here is, in fact, the full endorsement form, in this case, for the Alianza Award. But it's just one box at the very bottom. It's an open box. It looks small, but it actually expands as you type into it. So don't think that you only have half an inch to type all of your information. The box will expand, and there is a 500-word limit in this case. Unlike the application, where there are separate fields for each of the criteria, the endorser forms only have one field for the endorsers to provide information relevant to all the criteria. And an important thing here to stress is if you are endorsing, make sure that you are specifically addressing at least one, if not more, of the criteria. The criteria are provided on the form for reference, so make sure that you're providing clear examples of each. That will be very helpful for the selection committee. Next, please. So as Sarah mentioned, there will be a review period that will happen in the August timeframe, and then nominees will be notified in September. And all nominees will be notified, whether they are the recipient of the award or not. But that will be the communication process back to the nominees. Next slide. And then we obviously celebrate all this. So once we've made the selections in September, there will be an awards ceremony in October, in late October, the 30th, in fact, this year. This year's awards ceremony will be co-located with a professional development event that Association Latinos is organizing. So that will happen during the day, and then the award ceremony will happen on the tail end of that event. So it'll be an opportunity for our community to get together, not just for the awards, but on the heels of a professional development event. And what you're seeing here are pictures of last year's recipients. The Inspira Award recipient was Michael Pereira, who's in the middle there in that photo on the left. And our Estrella Award recipient was Juan Amador, who is second from the right in the photo there. And with that, I'll hand it back to Diana.
Thanks, Mark. All right, so now that you learned a little bit about the awards, what the process is to kind of move forward, we wanted to provide you with some tips for crafting your story. So maybe some of you did attend our webinar last week that was talking about kind of self-advocacy And hopefully you've been inspired to consider nominating yourself for either this award or any other awards that are out there. But first things first, you want to make sure that you have reviewed the criteria in detail to really understand what the requirements are. The committee does evaluate the applications against that set criteria. So it's in your best interest to really understand what the criteria is for each of those awards that you may be considering. Take an inventory of what you've done, right? So kind of take some time to self-reflect, figure out all the different components of things that you've done in your past in different organizations, volunteer work that you've done with, associations like ASAE, Association Latinos, Association Forum, and any others, and put them down on paper so that you actually know and can really see all the work that you have done. Make sure that you're keeping the basis of the award in mind, right? So that's something that you want to make sure that you are understanding that the things that you're going to be putting together in your application packet do have to address that particular award. And speaking to and understanding the impact that you've had, not only to your organization, but to your community as well as to the association profession overall. Again, thinking about where you've given your time and energy, how you contributed to the association community is also really important. And then, for those of us that have participated in awards programs, you want to make sure as you're preparing your application packet that you're able to distinguish yourself, right, kind of upfront and sharing your story so that the reviewers have really that opportunity to get to understand you best. Think about some of the key challenges that you might have had in your roles, right? What did you do to make a difference in your particular role, and how did you contribute to the success of your organization, right? Thinking about some of those active words, what did you do? Did you foster, did you champion something? So think about that nature of your contributions and the impact that they have had. And be specific, right? So what specific projects were you involved with, and what impact did you have on those projects? So overall, right, it's a reminder, the committee that is going to be reviewing your applications is going to be relying solely on your application and not on any personal experiences with any of the applicants. So again, you want to make sure that you're the one that's, you're the one that best knows yourself. You're the one that's creating and crafting this application packet. So you want to make sure that you are putting everything in there that you would want the reviewers to know about your contributions, your impact, not only in your specific organization, but the association community as a whole. And then lastly, right, there is a kind of a statement within the application around the use of AI. Really, the content of your applications should be your own original work and should accurately represent your experience or experiences. The use of AI text generators such as ChatGPT or resources to generate content are going to be prohibited. So hopefully with some of these tips, it'll give you a really good idea of how to think about, putting together your application packet. So with that, I know you may have questions. So we want to make sure that we're allowing you enough time to ask questions around the awards themselves, the awards, the process, and any other questions around, how to prepare and craft your story. So with that, I'm going to ask our moderators to see if there are any questions in the chat. Any questions so far? And I'm actually going to stop sharing my screen in a moment because I do want to see, if anybody's comfortable with just going ahead and unmuting and, sharing your screen. You can feel free to do that. So let me do that. All right, so I do see that we have a number of attendees. Maria, did you just come off mute? Do you have a question?
Yes. Hi, everybody. Maria Jose Cook with Esport. I just have a quick question. For the Estrella Award, it mentions an association executive. Can you define what an executive is? Is it going to be a CEO level, or is it a associate director level, director level? Like what are you guys looking for there?
So I'll ask the committee if they want to jump in as well. But for the purposes of this award, for us, the executive was more of an established association professional that has been within nonprofits and association work for 5 or more years. And to us, that's kind of where we made a little bit of the distinction. They do not necessarily have to be a CEO. So that is not a requirement for that particular recognition. Anybody else want to add to that? Mark,
Yeah,
did you?
I'll add to that to say that we talked about this a bit with the committee last year and going into this year. And I think the important term for us, number one, is the length of time, right? The biggest distinction between the Inspira Award and the Estrella Award is that the Inspira Award is, for lack of a better term, sort of like a young professional award, right? It's somebody who's new and upcoming, whereas the Estrella Award is for an established association professional. And the word leadership, I think, is probably the most important word there. We want, what we're looking for in the Estrella Award is somebody who has shown sustained leadership of over 5 years. And leadership can take on a lot of forms, whether it's a position in terms of title or an impact that you've had in your organization. So I would probably rely less on the word executive and more on the word leadership and professional, along with that duration of time.
Thanks. Any other questions?
Did that answer your question, Maria?
Yes, thank you.
So I know right now we're in the nomination period, which means you have until the end of June, so June 30th, to submit a nomination for yourself, for a colleague. So I do think that this is a great opportunity for all of us to take an account and an inventory of who's around us, who's doing great work, and who do we think should be recognized for that great work. But during the application process in July, we will also be hosting a few office hours to provide an opportunity for those that are going through the application process to come back and ask any questions at that point in time regarding the application itself. So this is not your only chance to ask us questions right now. We do want to be available to you to be able to answer any questions as you're going through that process. The other thing I did want to remind people is that we will be sharing the recording of this presentation today. So stay tuned for information about when that will be available. So we will share the slides as well. Any other questions from the audience or tips from oh, there's a good question. Let's see. A quick question, do these awards open at the same time every year? So really great question, Diana. So we are looking to have a more consistent open time period. So I think we're likely going to be sticking to the same like June launch. And if we did launch a little bit earlier, we probably wouldn't go too far into too early May, but we're likely going to stick with that June timeframe of launch. And we'll have this two-step process, which will be the nomination period first for a month, and then the application period for a month. So yes, we will plan to have a more consistent timeframe moving forward. Yeah, thank you for putting in the dates into the chat.
Just one clarification on the dates. The award ceremony date has changed, but other than that, that is the schedule. We were unsure about the date because of the professional development event that was being held.
Yes, it's October 30th now for the in-person event.
I also want to follow up on the question Diana asked, which is that this year we introduced a two-step process, which is different from last year. So if any of you submitted applications last year, you'll notice this year is a little different. And we like the idea of that nomination period because it gives people an opportunity to either throw their own hat in the ring or to identify others. So we would really encourage folks, there's still a couple of weeks left, to do what Diana said, which is to sort of take an inventory of both the work that you've done and or the work of colleagues that you know, and submit their names. The nomination process is very, very easy. It's probably the easiest form that has ever been created in any award process that I've been a part of. And it's really just, like I said, just pretty much putting someone's hat in the ring. I'm sorry, somebody's name in the hat. And it's very simple. It's just really identifying somebody who you think might be worthy of receiving one of these awards. And then the application process then is where a lot of the more heavy lift happens. But we would encourage folks over the next 2 weeks, if you haven't already done so, feel free to drop somebody's name in there. Keep in mind that nominees will receive a notification they've been nominated. If they didn't nominate themselves, they will have the option of saying, well, maybe I don't want to. We encourage people to complete the application process if they've been nominated. That's really important as well. Diana referenced a session that was recently held. I was not able to attend that, but we've also talked about the desire and the need for folks to be comfortable with celebrating themselves and letting people know about the important work that they've done. So we also encourage folks, if you are nominated in this process, to strongly consider going through with the application, and give yourself an opportunity to be known and for us to learn more about you and perhaps hopefully award you with one of these selections.
Yeah, and something that I mentioned in that webinar last week is if you don't attempt something, you don't know if you're going to achieve it, right? So I think a lot of times it's just taking that first step and even putting yourself out there. It is an exercise that you can become more comfortable with, and so that when you see other opportunities available of other awards programs, and it just becomes more like, yes, I do want to highlight the work that I've done and the efforts that I put into my organization, the profession, whatever that may be, the community. So we hope that you will take that first step with us in our awards program and feeling comfortable in doing that for yourself.
One more thing on that, Diana, which is everybody who receives one of these awards is mentioned as an award recipient and not an award winner. And the primary reason behind that is to the point we were just talking about. The fact that you have not received an award does not make you a loser. It simply means you weren't selected for the award. And that was really important to us because we want to make sure, to Diana's point, that you take that chance, put yourself out there. It isn't about winning or losing in this case. It's about, the committee will have difficult decisions to make. We had difficult decisions to make last year. We'll have difficult decisions to make again this year. And if you're not selected for award, that's not a sort of an indictment of who you are. It may just be what Diana mentioned earlier in her list of how you build an application. If we had an application that was just stronger because of what they provided and what we were able to reflect off of, that might be the case. But I don't be afraid of this being a contest of being winners and losers. The fact that you've been nominated alone is an honor, and we want to make sure that everyone has a fair chance, and we as a committee are committed to doing that.
Sorry, I have one more question, Maria Cook again. And I'm asking these questions because I do have a colleague in mind that will be might be great for the Estrella Award. If they are the recipient of the award, is there any travel or anything that is given to those folks to attend the ceremony, or is that up to them to make it to the ceremony?
It's a really great question, Maria. I think we will be able to kind of work with those recipients. Our goal is to get them there in person. So, we'll try to work with them whatever way possible to make that happen. So I would say, like, let that not be a limitation of applying and going for this award. But our goal is to have, in-person representation for the winners, unless there's obviously like a schedule issue where they have another commitment to be at. So you can just let that person know that we will try to do our best to make them be present and working with them on getting them to the location. Because I know not everyone is in the DC area, right? We have many associations in Chicagoland and other places. So we will work with that.
Okay, thanks.
I'm glad you already have somebody in mind, which is great.
Yeah, I do. I mean, not gonna lie, I might throw my name too, but I do have a friend that is a colleague of mine. She's been in the association world for a while, and I think she's due for some recognition. So,
well, I hope you will consider submitting yourself as well.
okay.
And Maria, on a related note, the fact that this is being held on October 30th also doesn't require that anybody show up with costumes for the event. Okay, we're not doing Halloween theme, even though it's right around Halloween. So if anybody's worried about that, don't be worried. You're not going to be required to wear a costume.
Okay, well, too bad. I'll cancel my Amazon order then. Oh, no.
I know we have a few other people here that are, I'm curious to know, were you interested in coming to this webinar to learn more about potentially nominating someone else or yourself? So I know, Diana, you asked a great question, but Giovanna, hopefully I'm saying that correct. If you have somebody in mind, that's fantastic, but we would love to hear any other either questions or comments around the awards process. Or you can type it in the chat if that's more comfortable. There's no additional questions. I will ask if anybody from our committee has any other last parting pieces of advice for the participants that are here today as they're kind of thinking about this process. Sarah, Juana, Mark, even Justin, Vanessa, Erica. Go ahead, Juana.
I think we touched on this multiple times, but as someone who still struggles with imposter syndrome, right? Still knowing that it doesn't hurt to submit yourself for this nomination. No one knows us better than ourselves. And so if you feel that you fit this criteria, the eligibility, there's literally nothing to lose by just submitting a nomination form. And it's just getting over that imposter syndrome. So I encourage you all to do it.
Thanks, Juana. That's fantastic. I was also going to say that I think, right, like this is a safe space. So if you want to take that chance, this is the best place to start doing that with an organization that is really committed to uplifting associations in this space. So that's what I would kind of encourage you to think about. Mark,
I actually had a question. This is Giovanna. I am an entrepreneur, so my business is going into other businesses and showcasing them how to leverage AI to scale their business. Mi Comunidad is heavily based in Latina entrepreneurs, and it sounds like this isn't our space, including the new award that was just showcased for this year. Is that correct?
It is for those that can be vendors but are supporting those that are in nonprofit and association management. So unless your organization or your business kind of supports that, then it probably would not be the best fit. But we do encourage, if there are vendors that are specifically working with those in nonprofits and associations, that they are eligible to be considered for that Alianza Award. Does that give you more clarification?
No, thank you for confirming.
Okay. And I think a few more people just joined. Josie, welcome, Josie. And then,
Sorry, one more question.
yeah.
Do you guys have an idea like how many nominations you get on a given year, or what is like the sort of rejection rate? Is that something you can talk about or no?
So this is our second year of having this awards program, and so I think we've changed a number of things for this year. So I don't think it would be fair to even share kind of what happened last year, since it's a completely different process. And our hope really has been, as with any new program that is launched, it's going to take you probably about 3 years to really get a handle on just leveraging your audience and how much your reach can be. So I do anticipate, even with the people that are here today, is a much less DC centric reach than we've had in the past. So this is a great step in trying to expand the reach of this program. So Maria, we may not be able to share specific numbers, but we may be able to share just overall kind of how we did in the program with maybe percentages of how we do it in the future.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was so so new. I'm sort of kind of
Yep.
Although I've been in like association for 12 years, I think I'm new to the whole actually venturing out of my own association space. So I did not realize it was a new program.
Yeah, yeah, and we're hoping to continue to expand the program and add some additional recognitions in the future. So we have 3, we're hoping to get them all kind of settled and then think about what else is available for us to do. Again, the whole point is to really elevate our community, and I think we can only do that when we create some of these opportunities for our people. So I know, Amelia, you just joined us. We did go over kind of the application process and the nomination period that we're currently in right now. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the Association Latinos website, and be happy to answer any questions you might have, but don't want to put you on the spot if you're not ready for that. I'll probably ask maybe one of our chat moderators to go ahead and put that website again for the Association Latinos Awards program in the chat, to just let you know kind of where you can find resources. But this is being recorded, so we will be able to share the recordings. You can catch kind of what we shared earlier in the presentation. Thanks, Justin. Any additional questions? There were some good ones already, so thank you. I'm going to share my screen again and just kind of make sure you all see our email address. So if there are any particular questions, please feel free to email us at awards@associationlatinos.org, or also, follow us on LinkedIn. We will be posting reminders around the application, the nomination period deadline, the application process, and all of that. And then if you go to associationlatinos.org/awards, you'll be able to find more detailed information about the 3 awards that we do have for this year. Unless there's any other questions, and I'm happy to pause if there's questions. Yeah, Amelia, if you have a question, feel free to jump right in and ask.
Diana, this is
Yeah.
Erica. Quick question for you. Are we going to send the link to the recorded webinar later today or tomorrow?
Yes, we will figure out how to get the link to you. So we'll either send you a message directly or post it somewhere. And then we'll have to figure out kind of how we normally do that process.
Thank you. Amelia missed a huge part of the webinar, and she was wondering if, she could listen to the webinar later.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. We will figure out a way to get it out to you, whether it's directly an email to those that registered or pushing it on social media as well, that the recording is available. So please just allow like a few days for them.
Thank you.
And/or.
And/or, yes, and/or. We do also want to just, for those of you that have not yet completed the survey from Association Latinos, but this is an opportunity for you to kind of share around, or actually provide information so that we have more demographic information about those that are in associations and nonprofits. So the link has just been posted. The Association Latino survey is still open. Actually, I'm going to post the link. Give me 1 second. Is still available for everyone to complete. Oh, thank you, Justin. So this is an opportunity for you kind of to share your information and around, kind of how long you've been in associations, your background, really to collect that demographic information that we don't necessarily have access to. So please take less than 5 minutes. It's probably like a 2-minute survey to complete the survey and provide that information for us. All right. So I'm not a fan of holding you longer than you need to be held, but I did want to say thank you to everyone that was here with us today. I'd like to emphasize again, the Association Latinos Awards Program really serves as an opportunity to uplift the amazing work of our community. And so I do hope that you are going to be considering who's in your network that you think should be recognized, or even yourself, and taking that next step to put your name in for this consideration. So We will be holding a few office hours in July, and so once those dates have been identified, we'll be sending communications out through the Association Latinos LinkedIn, as well as throughout, our networks. So stay tuned for information around those webinars, and please be sure to follow Association Latinos on LinkedIn and any other social platforms. Thank you all for your participation and to our speakers for today, and we will be talking to you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.
Thank you.